to see you. Welcome to Pop Alternative, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I mean, I feel like your life these couple of months has been basically like a roller coaster you can't get off. Is that a fair assessment?
That's definitely, yeah, it's the best roller coaster I've ever been on for sure.
It's got the twists, the turns, and it's just like one speed, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been insane. It's yeah.
And I'm really happy for you, man, honestly. And we're obviously talking about a song that it's making its rounds a little bit. Lil Boo Thang is making its rounds. I feel like this is one of those songs, man, where like it's impossible not to listen to this song without doing like a little bit of this. You know what I mean?
Hey, perfect. That's the goal. I want people to move. Yeah, it's
Yeah, so was that kind of the early talk about like putting this together and everything, even before the Arista days, like just kind of like you wanted to make like a song that people can move to?
so it's funny. I mean, it wasn't even that. It wasn't because so when I first made the I guess the just the chorus of it, it wasn't meant to be a song. It was,
Ah.
I was like, on social media, and I'd been posting a lot of like trying to promote other music, and I was just kind of burnt out from that. So I was like, let me just make something that's fun, that's not promo for anything, that I'll just, it'll just be a piece of content, which is funny because it ended up being something. But yeah, and so I was listening to Best of My Love, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I got the instrumental for it, and then I just freestyled over it and found the clip of it that I thought was the coolest. And yeah, I just posted it online and people loved it. And then it was like, oh shoot, I have to make this into a song. And so then I went back and finished it.
Has the global like effect kind of hit you yet though? The fact that people are like dancing and listening to the song like all around the world, because I think that's like the coolest part of this whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. And seeing videos of people, in other countries, whether they're dancing to it or like they're just like at some event and
Yeah.
they're singing a song. It's like it's wild. I get messages all the time of people who are like, they're from the US, but then they go on vacation somewhere, like, oh yeah, I'm in France right now, and they're blasting your song at
Well,
this
just I
bar.
was at I was at a shopping mall and then the song was on, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm talking to him next.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it still makes no sense to me, but it's amazing.
At some, we all know how it is with like music and wanting to kind of make it more than just because a lot of people that start in music, they have those first kind of thoughts, Paul, where it's like, I want to make some music, right? But then it kind of like becomes more than that, right? Where it's like, I don't want to just make music, I want to tour, I want to cut a record and everything. When did that kind of start for you, would you say? Was that early on?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it was really in college. Like I started, I don't know, early college, I was making music kind of in the same way. It was like I was just doing stuff for fun, and it was like it was like an outlet. And then I would put some stuff on SoundCloud, and it wasn't huge or anything, but I had friends from high school who introduced me to like mutual friends of theirs who were musicians, and those people kind of were like, "Hey, man, like we like what you're doing. Like you should really think about like releasing this and making this into a thing." And back then it took a lot of convincing because I've always been like a very studious person. And so it was like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a writer. I had all. And so I mean, even after college, it was like I was working a day job, but still releasing music and just like, we'll see if this becomes something. And if it does, I'd love it because making music is like a passion for me.
I mean,
But
if
if it doesn't,
sometimes, yeah, sometimes it just happens though, right? You can't really
yeah,
control it.
exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened. It's like it was something that I was trying for, by the time it was, like earlier this year, it was like I was actively trying to get to the point where I could be a full-time musician. But it's one of those things where it's like you never know if it's actually going to happen because it's not like, you just apply for it and they go, yep, here you go.
Yeah, 100%. I want to go back to Lil Boo Thang very quickly too, Paul, because I find it interesting. We talked about, how it started. It was just a chorus, it wasn't a full song and everything. But can you take me through the turning point of when you were like one moment, like when it got reshared or something, or someone called you about something where you were like, whoa, like this is like, was there that one moment that was like it went from here to there, or was it just kind of like a progression specifically?
Yeah, well, it definitely was a lot of different moments. Like it was a progression, but I mean, there were definitely a few where, like, I remember the thing that made me go, like, wait, I need to make this into a full song was I posted the video on social media, and like the video did really well and it got a bunch of views, but I was like, okay, like that's just, sometimes videos do well. That doesn't mean that it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it almost immediately people started using it in their own videos,
Yep.
and I remember the number of followers I had on like Instagram, for example,
Yeah.
went from 30,000 to
Yeah,
100,000
you're at
in
like
like,
about 300K right now, which is crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, oh wow, okay, people really like this. And so then I went and I finished it, and then I remember I went to a bar with a friend, and two different people came up to me and were like, hey, release that song, man. And I was like, wait, who are you? Like, what's going on? And so that made me, it was like, okay, like we need to really, put all our energy into making this a thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you've definitely now it's more kind of like what are the next steps? Playing shows, touring, cutting a record EP. There's kind of that, but like before that, there was that kind of you were in that space of like the content creation and people were using it on TikTok and everything. What would you say would be, in your opinion, from what you've seen from the landscape, like is a misconception about content creation, in your opinion? Like everyone online thinks, oh, it's like this, right? And it's like that. You're like, no, it's actually the opposite of that. Is there anything misconception-wise about content creation or TikTok that comes to mind specifically?
Ooh, well, I mean, I definitely think like, it seems from the outside like, you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, let me just like
Make
film this.
it.
Or like, you just like think of an idea in the moment, or like, let me shoot it. It's like, no, there's so much thought that goes into everything I post. Like, even like the video with the Lil Boo Thang, like the first video I posted, it's like me, with a fan spinning around me, with the song. That video, I filmed that in my room, like, I want to say like 20 different times.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
and it's just like, it's like, okay, I do it. And then I'm like, that shirt, it looks kind of boring. And then I'm like, okay, let me wear this shirt. Then I film that and it's like, I don't really like how I sang it. That so like, there's so much trial and error and stuff. And also like, I have a group chat of friends that I'll send everything to and be like, is this cool? You like this? Should I change what I say here? It's because it's so much psychology and so many things. It's like little minute details of the video will make it succeed or fail. It's yeah, think about it.
It's an interesting space for sure. And I feel like it's just, I always love asking the misconception question because this is my favorite thing about Pop Turnip is like the behind the scenes type things, because I have a lot of friends that are on TikTok as well. And I hear about that a lot where it's like, it's very strategic where people just think they wake up and like you said, which is really interesting. It is spooky season, by the way. People are going to haunted houses, Hollywood Horror Nights and everything. Have you seen any like really funny, cool, like spooky season videos with your song yet?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of I've seen some costume videos. I have we made a little like TikTok filter that has a little ghost on it that like dances and does the same dance moves that you do on the screen. And so I've seen a lot of people post that. It's cool. The boo aspect of Lil Boo Thang is so perfect because the song came out like late summer, and so it was kind of like, all right, it's gonna have its moment in the summer, and then we'll hope it keeps going. But it's continued to grow, and even seen a spike just because of all of the stuff going on in October, which is I love it. I'm like, the goal is to be the Mariah Carey of Halloween. It's like whenever.
Can you
it's
do?
like,
Are you into like? Are you into horror movies? Like, do you like spooky stuff?
Oh yeah.
There's so many good ones out there all the time. It's like,
There's so many. Yeah, I just watched a movie a couple days ago called Talk to Me, I think it
yeah,
was called.
so good.
But so good. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I'm also creative as well. Like I make some films here and there too, and like horror movies is just such a crazy, it's actually insane because if you think about it, horror movies have been around forever, but there's just been this like surge of like popularity with them.
Yeah, really. Which is, I mean, I love it. But the problem is, So many of my friends are weenies, man.
Yeah,
They won't watch.
but some people can't do. No, I'll tell you what the craziest thing ever. I've interviewed some people from like all these like really indie, like really gory, freak, scary horror movies, and I'm like really excited to talk to them about it. And this is the craziest thing. Ready to hear this? The actors in the movie, like they who are in like some of the scariest scenes I've ever seen, like they can't do horror movies. Like they, isn't that crazy to think about?
That's insane. Like, I can't even. I'm not even gonna watch it.
Yeah, like they can't watch their stuff because they're too scared.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Because you had that 50-50 where you talk to people on horror movie sets, because there's a lot of like VFX and they don't see a lot of stuff where like sometimes they go in, they do the role and it doesn't seem scary. Sometimes it does seem scary, but a lot of scenes, like there's one scene that I was talking to someone about and like they were like, they went in, they did it, but they couldn't see what they did to it in post-production because it was going to be too scary for them.
Wow, that's so wild. That's so funny. Huh.
I know, it's so crazy. And then last question before we wrap up, man. I mean, I know now there's so much kind of going on. There's a lot to process right now, and I'm really happy for you, man. Seriously, with all the success you're having, and I hope it just continues and continues. What's next? What are the goals? What are you looking to do kind of now for the rest of 2023 and 2024?
Man, I mean, goals are to just keep making music to like build a career out of this, you know? And so it's like I've been making a lot of new stuff, like just being in the studio and then doing shows. And the goal is to start releasing stuff in the next few months. We're trying to figure out the timeline. But yeah, to keep the train moving, man, I just want to, you know, obviously when you have something that connects with a lot of people globally, it's like, wow. That feeling, it feels good. It's like I want to keep doing it. I want to be able to, you know, it's like make people happy. That's the dream. So.
I think that's the best part about content and music and like content these days, the global aspect of it. Like the fact that people can listen to your songs all around the world, and then we have also access to music from all around the world. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm trying to stay doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously people can, you know, stream Lil Boo Thang if they haven't already. It's pretty funny, eh? Like the plug for music is really easy now. It's like where can you listen to the song? Everywhere. Wherever you listen to music.
Yeah, true. And you don't have to spend any money for it. It's like you just go, well, any new money.
I think it's crazy. Very quickly, the Spotify plug, because I think it's at over 30 million streams already on Spotify, which is nuts. Yeah. But think about that. That's only one platform.
Yeah, true.
Like, that's something no one ever, everyone's like, oh, Spotify, like it's incredible, but we're not talking Apple Music, we're not talking to YouTube. Like that's one platform, man. It's crazy to me. So
it's not.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you. Yeah, so they can check that out, and they can follow you on Instagram, right? That's kind of the best way to keep update with everything, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Paul Russell on Instagram.
Awesome. Paul, it was so great chatting with you, man. Thank you so much for coming on Popternative.
Hey, thank you for having me. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. This has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Popternative.com has a lot of other content as well. If you haven't listened to it already, Lil Boo Thang by Paul Russell is streaming wherever you listen to your music. So be sure to check that out and use that in the spooky season video. Until next time, this is Paul Russell, PD Beats, signing out.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.